welcome to Rawk, the production update podcast, July 2023 edition. And if all goes to plan, the last edition of this podcast that isn't going to come out on Patreon. So that's fun. Full disclosure, this episode, much like the previous two, is not being recorded as if it would be releasing on July 1st. It is actually currently the 11th of July. And because of that, I can say very confidently that July, it's gonna be a month. This is a very busy month in the year, so we have a lot to talk about. But before we get into that, let's chat. I have some big news. The foam situation in this room is finally at an acceptable level. I mean, you can see there's some new panels up here. I think they're in frame. They appear to be in frame. And also behind the camera, that whole wall now is basically just foam. And I've finally been able to do my first recording here at the desk. You know, the primary center of operations for the channel. I haven't been recording voiceover here since I moved here, so that's been a little bit of a pain. To give a little bit of background, I just went into the bedroom with this little table, the laptop, and the microphone, because the bedroom is just more sound isolated. I guess it's probably just because there's a lot of soft furnishings in there, and also a wall full of games and merchandise, which I guess help soundproof the room. So yeah, but I can finally do it in here now, which is so much more convenient. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here. For a couple of episodes, the audio ended up getting corrupted because the laptop I used to use to edit on until like January, February this year, and the one that I would have been recording voiceover on in the bedroom, it's old. It's really old, and just for some reason I would safely eject the hard drive that I was storing all of the voiceover on. And you know, I'd open it in Vegas, make sure it wasn't corrupted or anything, and then I'd go to plug the hard drive into the PC, and half of the audio just would not be there. So I think for the Super Mario Land episode, I just had to re-record the whole thing, and that was awful. I didn't enjoy having to do that, so I ended up emailing them all to myself before I even took the hard drive out of the laptop, and like, it was just a whole thing. And also I didn't have the second desk chair. I've got a second desk chair in the bedroom now when I don't need it anymore, but I would have to like put this chair in that room. This chair doesn't fit through doors super comfortably. It was just a whole mess of a situation, but now I can sit right here and I can record audio, and it's fucking great. Jury's still out on whether the sound quality is necessarily better. It's definitely not bad. It's more than usable, but I don't know if it's quite at the point of being better. But that's okay, because today, as I'm recording this, I have more foam being delivered, so yeah, that wall's probably just going to be foam by the next edition of this, so that's fun. I also have a couple of non-Rawk things to talk about, just because I can. After 120 hours of playtime, by the time you've seen this, I will have beaten Tears of the Kingdom, which is weird, man. At the time of recording this, I have attempted the final boss fight. I have not succeeded though. It's hard, and it's long, and that's an innuendo that was not intentional. But like if you die, you get sent right back to the beginning, and it was like after midnight by the time I'd started, and I got killed, and I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with this today. That's a future me problem. And then I have not had a chance to play since. But I'll get there. That doesn't mean I'm done with Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm far from it. I have just so many things I'd still like to do in that game. But I wanted to at least roll credits before Pikmin 4 came out, because good lord, nothing else in the world is going to matter for a good amount of time after that game releases. So I wanted to at least have the main story wrapped up on Zelda, and unless something goes horribly wrong in the next 10 days, I will have succeeded in that. I guess that wasn't a couple of non-Rawk things, that was just one non-Rawk thing. But yeah, let's get into the Rawk project of July 2023. I definitely didn't almost say August. So, because the way this month is, and the fact that I upload on Mondays, there will be 5 new episodes of Rawk in July. Holy shit. The first episode is the E3 2023 episode, and I can already say with confidence that happened because it happened like 8 days ago. Following that, we have Porky Park 2, which has also already happened. I'm great at this. Yeah, I didn't end up doing that one on holiday, and that was just for the better. I also think the script ended up better for it. It was a little bit less gimmicky. Okay, so the E3 2023 video was like 35 minutes long. So when writing the Porky Park 2 episode, I was like, okay, let's dial it back a bit. Let's have a little shorter, nicer, more easily digestible episode to save me the pain of editing another like 20+ minute video. So the video ended up being about 25 minutes long. I just have too many opinions. And I mean, come on, it's related to Porky Park Wii. Of course I have opinions. But yeah, I just found that funny. Even when I try to have a shorter script, it doesn't always work out that way. But you know what? That's fine. Then the third video of the month is on Wii Sports. Did I intentionally put 2 Wii games back to back? No. That wasn't on purpose. But, you know, that's just the way it is sometimes. Sometimes you talk about 2 Wii games after each other, and that's fine. I can say definitively that I have less to say about Wii Sports than Porky Park 2 though, so hopefully I'll have a nicer time editing that one. The fourth video of the month is Mario Kart 64. I want to do, you know, the whole Mario Kart series, and particularly with like other series I've done, like the 2D Mario series, I tend to take a bit between installments. I have plans for that series later in the year, but you know, after Super Mario Kart came out, what was that? Oh, was that March? It might have been April. Not too long ago, basically. I wanted to get Mario Kart 64 done sooner rather than later to kind of keep that momentum going. And I don't know off the top of my head how many Mario Kart games I will have covered by year's end, but it'll be more than 2, which is good. And then the final episode of the month on July 31st, if all goes to plan, will be video game difficulty. Just kind of talking about the difficulty of games, and you know, games that are particularly easy, why they might be that way, games that are really difficult, why they might be that way, advantages and disadvantages of designing games in those ways. It's just something that I find really interesting. You know, a lot of times you'll see a game get reviewed and people will be like, oh, it's easy, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, and it's like, well, that that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I kind of want to talk about that. Also, people will criticize a game just as much for being difficult, so pick a lane, IGN. So yeah, that is the 5 mainline episodes of this month. That is not all I'm releasing this month, because on the 1st of July, also known as 10 days ago, I launched Rawk Shorts, which means technically there will be a new video every single day, and so far the reception to those has been insane. Gotta get my PC charger, not my PC, I mean laptop. My laptop, which I'm using to using as a viewfinder, is about to die. We're gonna pretend that this didn't happen. Flawless. I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah, I know that shorts tend to get like a lot of views compared to long form content, but I wasn't anticipating just how many more views those would have gotten. Like, a lot of them are in the thousands within the first day, and that's just insane to see. And it's also led to a good amount of subscriber growth, which I'm really happy about. So yeah, I hope you've all been enjoying them. And also, because it's such a rare occasion that a new Pikmin game will be coming out, and I don't have early access to that game. I don't have currently any plans to talk about Hey Pikmin or Pikmin Bloom, but I did already talk about the main trilogy. So on top of the daily shorts, on top of the 5 main episodes, I'm also going to be releasing a Pikmin trilogy retrospective, kind of just compiling the 3 videos together and almost remastering them, by which I mean I'm just replacing the old backgrounds. But in some cases that did require me to go into the old project files and like replace them by hand rather than just like resizing and re-editing the existing final video. Does that make sense? So yeah, that video comes in at about an hour long, and the plan is to release that the day that Pikmin 4 launches, so that'll be the 21st of July. Oh my god, that's just over a week away. Oh. And on top of that, hopefully, I will be launching the Patreon this month. The logo, no, singular. The logo I had commissioned is done. The artwork is done, and I've had the first passes on all of the music, so hopefully pre-August the Patreon will launch. You'll know whether or not that happened based on whether or not there's another episode in this playlist. So yeah, July is, I'd say, undoubtedly gonna be the busiest month of the year. At least in terms of mainline episodes, because the only other month this year that has 5 Mondays is October. And I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. October's not going to be a normal month. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but basically I don't think there's going to be 5 mainline episodes in October. So yeah, July is probably going to be the single busiest month of the year. I'm working on a Porky Park duology now that I've done the second game. And I was going to release that this month, but I feel like if I'm doing the Pikmin trilogy retrospective as well, that's kind of a lot. I want to talk about that actually. So the first Porky Park episode was the 4th episode I ever released of Rawk. And I believe Porky Park 2 was the 115th. So, needless to say, my style has grown, changed, and evolved a lot over that time. So when I had them both in the timeline next to each other, I just got whiplash. It was insane. And I've made a conscious effort, basically the entire series lifespan, to keep a hold of all the raw data files, like all of the raw live action recordings and voiceover recordings and stuff like that, just in case. So I had the thought of like, whoa, what if I remade this episode, you know, re-edited it in a more like modern Rawk, I guess you could say, style. Obviously, there's nothing I could do about the slower delivery and the camera shyness. I can't change that. But if I had access to the raw files, I could at least edit it in a less jarring way. And I went into my hard drive where I store all of the raw recordings and found out that that is one of only maybe 3 episodes that I don't have the raw files for. And that was just really disappointing. What made it even harder to stomach was the fact that I do have the raw recordings for a version of that episode that was going to be released on a different channel 2, maybe 1 or 2 years before that episode actually came out. Why do I have those but not these? So yeah, that was a whole thing. That'll probably come out in August. I don't know if there's much interest in that, but I like to do that when I've like finished a series. I like to, you know, put a compilation video out, and obviously Pikmin's kind of an exception because I haven't finished the series, but I've finished the trilogy, and I feel like that's good enough to commemorate Pikmin 4 coming out. I'd also like to thank TDog75 for actually suggesting doing the Pikmin retrospective, like the trilogy retrospective, because I was just gonna wait until I'd done videos on Hey Pikmin, Pikmin Bloom, and Pikmin 4, and then do like a whole series compilation. And that will still happen in the future, but yeah, the trilogy retrospective kind of needs to happen now, because, you know, when is another Pikmin game going to be coming out? I kind of need to at least try to capitalize on that, you know? But yeah, unless I'm forgetting something, which is entirely possible, that's pretty much all July has to offer. That's all July has to offer. I'll also be working on future projects as and when I can. Just to let you in on a little bit of what will be happening in the future. There is a special episode coming out in October that's not the Halloween special. It's in addition to that. So I'm hoping to get all of the live action recorded in August, which means in July, I'm gonna be finalizing the script, which will be really exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. I forgot how I outroed the first one again. So yeah, I hope you're looking forward to at least one of the projects that Rawk has coming out in July of 2023, and I will see you in August for the next edition of the Production Update podcast. Bye!